The SR-71 Blackbird. It is the fastest air-breathing manned aircraft ever built. It flew at 3 times the speed of sound. It flew so high, 85,000 feet, that the pilots didn't wear flight jackets. They wore pressurized spacesuits. It was so fast that the standard evasion tactic for a surface-to-air missile was simply to speed up. Over 4,000 missiles were fired at it over its service life. Not a single one ever hit. It literally outran bullets. But on the ground, it was a mess. It rattled, it creaked, and famously, it leaked jet fuel all over the runway. Before takeoff, there would be puddles of JP7 fuel sitting under the fuselage. This wasn't a mistake, it was a requirement of physics. Today on Ordnance Archives, we explore the engineering insanity of the Blackbird and why it had to leak to fly. To understand the leak, you have to understand friction. When you fly at Mach 3.2, that's over 2,200 miles per hour, the air in front of you can't get out of the way fast enough. It compresses and heats up. The friction was so intense that the leading edges of the wings would reach 800 degrees Fahrenheit. The glass in the cockpit window would reach 600 degrees. If you touched the window during flight, it would burn your hand off. Standard aluminum airframes, like you see on a Boeing 747, would simply melt or lose their structural integrity at these temperatures. The engineers at Lockheed's Skunk Works, led by the legendary Kelly Johnson, had a problem. They needed a metal that could survive hell. The answer was titanium. Titanium is incredibly strong and heat-resistant. It was the perfect material. The Blackbird is 93% titanium alloy, but there was a catch. In the 1960s, the United States didn't have enough high-grade titanium. The largest supplier of titanium in the world was the Soviet Union, the very enemy the plane was built to spy on. So the CIA had to set up a series of shell companies and fake businesses to covertly purchase the metal from the Russians. The Soviet Union unknowingly sold the US the metal that would be used to build the spy plane that would spy on them for the next 30 years. But titanium brought another problem: thermal expansion. When metal gets hot, it expands. When an object as big as the SR-71 goes from 70 degrees on the runway to 800 degrees in the air, it grows. The plane literally stretched by several inches during flight. If the engineers had bolted the fuel tanks together tightly on the ground, the expansion at Mach 3 would have ripped the rivets apart and crushed the airframe. So they designed the fuel cells with gaps. They built the plane loose. On the ground, the parts sat loosely together, allowing fuel to seep out. But once the plane hit Mach 3 and heated up, the metal expanded, the gaps sealed shut, and the fuel system became airtight. It was an aircraft that only worked correctly when it was burning hot. To push this titanium monster to Mach 3, they needed an engine unlike anything else, the Pratt & Whitney J58. It was a hybrid between a turbojet and a ramjet. Look at the spikes on the front of the engines. These huge metal cones moved back and forth to control the shock wave of air entering the engine. At full speed, the engine was basically a controlled explosion, putting out 32,000 pounds of thrust. It gulped down fuel so fast that the plane had to refuel immediately after takeoff. It would take off with a light fuel load to save stress on the tires, meet a tanker, fill up, and then blast off to the edge of space. The Blackbird served from 1964 to 1998. In all that time, no enemy ever touched it, but the pilots had fun with it. There is a famous story from pilot Brian Shull. He was flying over California, listening to radio traffic. A small Cessna pilot asked the tower for a speed check, 90 knots. Then a Navy F-18 asked for a speed check, 620 knots. The Navy pilot was bragging. So Shull keyed his mic. "Tower, Aspen 20, can we get a ground speed check?" The tower replied, "Aspen 20, I show you at 1,842 knots." The Navy pilot went silent. The SR-71 was the king of the sky. Thanks for watching Ordnance Archives. If you enjoyed this look at the Blackbird, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments, will we ever build a plane this fast again? Or is the age of speed over?